Well, bit of a different one today. We're talking about the Tribe of Names album and where we stand with it. 18 months in and it still hasn't been released. What the hell's happened? Tribe of Names, welcome back to the channel. My name is Simon Godfrey and I'm a professional musician who has spent the past 35 years working in and sometimes around the recording music industry, writing and performing. On this channel we provide tips and tricks for the aspiring songwriter and musician in you. So, album update. This second time around the recording maypole has turned into a little bit of a sort of Fleetwood Mac making Tusk kind of saga. And to give you some idea of just how long this has taken, here's some footage that was recorded in January last year of us doing the drum sessions. This is all pre-COVID, hence the reason we don't have masks on. But we were having a very good time where we were doing it. And you can see the changes in the Metronome studios that we've made over the past year since we recorded these drums. Hello, it's Simon here, it's Scott, and there's Carl. This is the first day of recording the second Valdez album, or the follow-up Valdez album to the absolutely mighty This.
Right, should I say our control room area?
And we can exercise.
And we can exercise here.
Or we cannot exercise.
So this is the live room. So this is where Scott will be tracking all of his drums.
Right here.
And it all goes through these cables, all the way through here, out through here, and over to Carl.
Don't want to hear that part yet.
Well, if I'm being honest with you, it's a massive convergence of different events which has basically conspired to stop us from releasing this album. We released the first Valdez album, which was the name that we first came together under, in about 2017, I think it was. And it was called This. Really good album. We had a fantastic time. We recorded with producer and all-round good egg and musician Brett Cull behind the desk at a studio called Catapult Studios in North Wales, here in Pennsylvania. Had a fantastic time. In fact, actually, one of my favourite recording experiences. Just was a lot of fun to make, to be honest with you. So we toured that for about a year and a half, and then it came round to sort of writing material for the next album. And what I thought I'd do is, because at the time we had a keyboard player, which they didn't really have a particularly big role in that first album, because I'd written most of the album on guitar. So I said to myself, well, this time round I'll write a keyboard album to allow our keyboard player a little bit more entry into the music. And so I set about writing, I should say, a keyboard album. And it was great. I really enjoyed the experience of writing that album, and I was trying to sort of like pull on influences like 10cc and the mid-period XTC as well. And then what happened was, at the start of last year, 2020, our keyboard player left the band. So we were left with a keyboard album and no keyboard player. And coupled with that, we had the COVID lockdown as well, which meant that we couldn't gather in a room as often as we would like to rework the album. And so here we were with a keyboard album, no keyboard player, and no means to put it right easily. So what we had to do is we had to go the long way round and do it at distance. And gradually what we did, and this was, actually there's one other thing I ought to make mention, is that we actually at that time picked up another guitarist in the shape of Carl Eisenhart, who you've probably seen on the channel. Really good guy, just basically an all-round professional. And he was really instrumental in a lot of reworking of the album, because what he did is he effectively dived into the keyboard parts and reinvented the keyboard parts for guitar. And I have to say, if it had been any other musician, we probably would have really been struggling. But with his help and me working here in the studio to rearrange the tracks, we finally started to bring the album back into focus around 2 guitars, bass and drums. And it was sounding really good. But the downside was we had to do this all at a distance, so it was painstakingly put together. In addition, we started this YouTube channel, which meant that we had an awful lot more work to do during a week than just recording the album. We were putting videos together, sometimes on a twice weekly basis. Sometimes live in the studio, sometimes it was me doing gear reviews or talking directly to the camera about other musical related subjects. Which meant that in some ways the album kind of took a little bit of a back seat, especially at the tail end of last year between September and November as we tried to get the YouTube channel up and running. So here we were 18 months onwards, almost 2 years actually onwards, and still no second album. We changed our name, as you now know, to Tribe of Names, and we found ourselves with an album which we were reacquainting ourselves with the music at the start of this year. And so what's been happening since the start of this year is we've been working really hard behind the scenes to complete this album. And we're going to be releasing it through a label who I've had a long association with, which is Bad Elephant Music. And they are fantastic people. They're based in the UK, and I released some of my first albums, the Shineback album, some of my solo stuff. The Black Bag Archive was also released on that label, and if you're interested in any of those, I'll put links below. But they are a really, really great bunch of people. Work very hard for the musicians and the artists that they help release music for under the Bad Elephant moniker. And so I had to reapproach David Elliott, who runs Bad Elephant, again, and just say, are we still cool to release this? We've changed our name, it's 18 months down the line. And he said, absolutely. God bless him. He said, I believe in you, I believe in what you're doing. And so here we are in March of 2021. Just on the cusp of finishing the album. We've just got a few little bits and bobs of tracking to do. I've got to do the percussion sessions, which I'm going to be doing with our drummer Scott Miller in the next few weeks, and just rounding out the bass guitars to get them all up to speed, because some of those were recorded before our keyboard player left, and as a result some of the bass lines have changed slightly. And yeah, so if all goes well, we're looking for a release later on this year of the first Tribe of Names album, which in a sense is the second album that we've released as a band, but obviously we're doing this now under a new name. So that's just an update on what we've been doing behind the scenes musically. It's not just this YouTube channel, we're not just reviewing guitar pedals, and we're not just talking about how you can write songs. We are working musicians as well. And Tribe of Names is a band as well as a YouTube channel to help educate other people out there, or at least pass on some of our musical experiences to those who might not necessarily have had 35 years of experience working in the music business. So thanks very much for asking. We have had a lot of questions about what we're doing as a band, so this is in some way a way of explaining how we've been working behind the scenes. And if you're interested in what we produce as a band and the kind of stuff that we produce for other people as educators, please consider subscribing from down below. Click on the subscribe icon and also click on the bell icon as well, so you can be notified whenever new videos arrive, and we'll do our best to keep you apprised of what we're doing next. So until the next time, Tribe of Names, this is Simon Godfrey wishing you a good week. We'll see you around. Goodbye.